Testing. 1, 2. Thank you.
Anybody else need to keep up?
No, I'll take a keep up.
How about you? It'll be a little bit, but it'll be okay.
Are these adult size?
They are adult
They
size.
fit on me.
They fit you? Good for you. You got the head for it.
Look. It fits me.
You're good.
Actually, I would rather not wear one.
All right, about you.
It's a little small. Why do the boys always wear them? My head's too big for this. My dad might not wear it. Bro, smart. It's not. That's how they put it.
Can I have that music?
That's what?
Music stand?
Yeah. I don't get stuff for it.
How sweet it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. How good it is,
How sweet it is.
how sweet it is to be together on this day.
How good it is.
How good it is,
How sweet it is.
how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Yai, dai, dai, Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mimelech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hai, 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 Thank you, Junior Choir. I've got to say, something that I might love more than having Junior Choir with us is watching all the parents' faces watching their children in Junior Choir. Because as we're watching the kids, I love watching the parents watch the kids, and the face, that's the face that... As our kids sang earlier, how good it is for all of us to be with one another. I think the joy and the energy that the kids just rang in those first two opening songs sums up the feeling of what I was hoping we would feel by gathering together tonight, especially after the past 24 hours. There is nothing better than with dealing with moments like these than to be with the strength of community, with the joy of community, with the power of what we stand for. And while our fears might have been lifted, I think it's important for us to remember that there are communities throughout this country that live with that anxiety of what if every single day of the week. And that we need to acknowledge that we are lucky because it just got lifted for us. And we need to work to make sure that no one feels the anxiety that we felt. The only place that's good for everybody is an equitable world for all. Let us make that world a reality. Let's take a moment to find what we need to be able to enter into our community, our sacred community, with joy and with love.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
My name is Ina Horn, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to Anshe Emmett Memorial Temple. Once again, this has been a challenging week, but our tradition reminds us that Shabbat comes just when we need it, allowing us to create a separation from all that occurred during the week and spend time in prayer thanking God for the blessings in our lives. One of the blessings is the joy of having the junior choir here to help lead in tonight's service. Their beautiful voices lift our spirits and our connection to our Jewish community and brings such happiness to us all. Now it is my pleasure to invite Wendy, Brian, Max, and Juliana Siegel up to the bima to light the Shabbat candles, and in honor of Max's bar mitzvah tomorrow. The blessings may be found on pages 2 and 3 in your prayer books. Mazel tov to Max and his entire family. Shabbat Shalom.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Before we continue on, can everybody hear me okay? Okay. We're going to continue with Chatzi Kaddish on page 26.
Yitkadal ve'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. Be'alma divrach hirutei be'amlit malchutei b'chayechon u'b'yomechon u'v'chayechon beit Yisrael ba'agala ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה בברך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה. יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה שמי דקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירת יעלמה ויאמרו Amen.
We continue on page 28 as we rise in body or spirit for the Baruch Hu. seated.
הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננת לבניך ודיברת בה בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם מאוד על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בעיניך ופתחתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם כראשים אלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות להם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אדוני אלוהיכם. Amen.
From the bottom of page 39. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. We continue now with silent prayer through page 63, adding the words and meditations of our hearts. When you are ready to continue, you may be seated.
Thank you, kids. I'm going to ask that come on over here. I'm going to ask you to come and have a seat in the aisle here. Any kids who want to come forward and have a seat in the aisle for the sermon can come and do so. So if you're sitting with your parents and you want to get away from them, but sit facing me. Yeah. There you go. Just need to make this a little softer. Okay, that's a little better. It's a little booming for a moment there. Look at all of you. Hi, Okech. Hi, Rafi. Hi, Max. Well, they're waving. I've got to say hello to them. Hi, guys. Hi, everybody. Now you're all waving. It's good to see you all. I was thinking just now about our Torah portion, Lech Lecha. Lech Lecha is a fantastic Torah portion. It's where it all begins for the Jews. You see, there's these people, this husband and wife named Abram and Sarai. And they're called Abram and Sarai before they later changed their names to Abraham and Sarah. Can you adjust this? Thanks.
There you go. Sorry about that. I apologize.
Okay, we're going to try this again. Okay. So there are these two people, Abram and Sarai. There we go. I feel like this is God saying you don't need a sermon tonight. You've had enough. There are these two people, Avram and Sarai, and God says to them, I want you to leave your land, the land that you know, the land of your parents, and I want you to go to this new land that I'm going to show you. God doesn't even say where the land is. God's essentially saying, you're going to walk until I tell you to stop. How do you think you would feel if that was you? Yeah? Feel a little uneasy? Yeah, a little confused? How else might feel? Yeah?
I would be like,
You would have a lot of questions. Yeah, how far are we talking? A mile, 10 miles? Are we talking like 2 days, 3 days? It was a long trek. And they went to a land that wasn't their own. It was a new land. It was going to be the land that's going to become Israel. But for them, they felt like strangers. Have any of you felt like what it's like to be a stranger? Yeah? How does it feel to be a stranger? A little embarrassing. How else? Yeah? Odd? You feel odd, right? You don't know the people, you don't know the customs, you don't know your surroundings, you don't know where to go to get food, you don't know where to go to get shelter, you don't know any of this stuff. It's going out into the unknown, and sometimes the unknown is scary. Now, God told them that it was time for you to go. It's time for you to go forth, because this is the right thing for you. But there are some people in this world where their notion that it's time to go is because where they live isn't safe. And they flee the land that they are from where their parents live, and they go to a new land. We call them refugees. Right? They're escaping war, they're escaping famine, they're escaping violence, and they go to a new place. And it's scary to do that even if things are bad where you're from. That's one of the reasons why Anshe Emeth, about 7 years ago, about 8 years ago, 7 years ago, helped establish Interfaith Rise with the Highland Park, the Reformed Church of Highland Park, and about 40 other religious institutions. We started a campaign called We'll Take 10, and we're trying to raise enough money to take 10 Syrian refugees and help them find a new home in Middlesex County. That's all we were trying to do, is just raise enough money to settle 10 families that left their home kind of like Abraham and Sarah did. And instead, we raised enough money to establish an organization that would take in refugees and asylees from all over the world and help settle them in Middlesex County. To date, we have settled several hundred, verging around the 1,000 number, of refugees in Middlesex County. Last year, when American forces left Afghanistan, we took in 266 Afghanistan individuals, families of 5 and 6, and helped find them a place to find safety in our area. I bring this up because this weekend, Sunday at 2 o'clock, beginning at the Reformed Church in Highland Park, we're doing the same thing we did 7 years ago and march around Highland Park raising awareness and trying to raise money to help bring in even more refugees. Because this is what we do. This is what we do because we're people of faith, and this is what we do because we are Jews. Because the very first story of Abraham and Sarah, the very first Jews, it begins. Max, how does the beginning of your Torah portion begin? Do you remember what those words are in Hebrew? V'yomer Adonai Lech Lecha. That's the very first words we hear from God as Jews. Lech Lecha, go. Go forth. You're going to leave. You're going to become refugees. You're going to become strangers. And from time and time again, we have been strangers in almost every single land that we've lived in. I'm sure for some of you, the feeling about being a stranger in New Jersey was familiar over the last 24 hours. But this is who we are. We are eternally the stranger, but we're eternally helping other people find home. The most repeated commandment in the Torah, if you guys remember anything from tonight, the most repeated commandment in the Torah is you shall take care of the orphan, the widow, and the stranger. The widow is somebody who lost a spouse, like a husband or a wife or a partner. Yeah. The reason why the Torah says the orphan, the widow, the stranger is because those are the three most vulnerable people in their society, in Israelite society in the Bible. So the most repeated commandment in the Bible is take care of the vulnerable. You are responsible for the vulnerable around you, which is why we're working hard to settle refugees. It's why we have this thing called a wishing wall, which is going to start up on Monday. The wishing wall gives gifts to those in our community who can't afford it for the holidays. There's several hundred gifts that we give out over the course of the holidays. It's why we have the homeless shelter here. It's why we cook for them for Christmas. It's why last year and this year we're going to make Christmas dinner for almost 300 people at Elijah's Promise. It's why we make sandwiches every day of the week to donate to Elijah's Promise. Since the beginning of the pandemic, we've made over 60,000 lunches that are given out. We do this because we're supposed to take care of those who are vulnerable. Yeah. What's that? Elijah's Promise is this wonderful institution. The question was, what is Elijah's Promise? Elijah's Promise is a food shelter. You, as I think many of you do, know that you get 3 meals a day, and whenever you're hungry, you can walk over to the pantry and pull out anything you want to eat, assuming your parents aren't watching. They are. I'm sure they are. There are people and children in this world that maybe get 1 meal a day if they're lucky. Can you imagine what it'd be like to only have 1 meal a day? Be starving. That's why we make sandwiches for Elijah's Promise. Elijah's Promise, their purpose is to help feed people that don't get food on a regular basis. And we as Jews help that cause because we're Jews and that's what we do. We help fill the bellies of those who need filling. Right? This is what we do. Whenever we feel like strangers, we need to remember that this is what we're used to. But there's an answer to it, and that's by helping others. So whenever you're feeling a little frightful, a little anxious, feeling like a stranger, don't forget there are other people out there feeling that way too, and you're supposed to help them. Yeah?
Does everyone become a refugee?
What's that?
Does everyone become a refugee?
Does everybody become a refugee? Not everybody becomes a refugee. We are lucky that we live in a place where we feel secure most of the time, but there are places in this world that are not like us. And there are a lot of people trying to come here because they don't get to have the life that you guys get to have. But there are also people who live in this country that don't get to have the life that many of you get to have. And the only society that I believe is safe for everyone is a society that's safe for everyone. An equitable world for everybody makes everybody secure. And as Jews, that's what we fight for. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
All right, kids, you can go back to your seats.
And now a little word about Torah.
Nothing was the same thing, but I never heard him cry.
thank you so much to our junior choir. It is wonderful to have you with us tonight, as well as the awesome Friday night band, really lifting up our spirits in a much-needed way. Just a few announcements before we conclude our services. As I mentioned, we have a wishing wall which collects gifts to countless children in the community at large for Christmas. This is a wonderful thing that we've been doing for ages. It's going to go live this Monday. We will have a wall with paper in it like we used to downstairs by the parking lot door, but there's also going to be an online option through Walmart. So if anybody would like to help out, you can do it through the website, or you could pull a sheet of paper from the wall that'll give you all the directions. That's beginning this Monday. Also, we have committed to Elijah's promise for making Christmas dinner again. Last year, you were all amazing with your donations. I want to thank everybody who donated last year. We're going to need somewhere between, I think, 25 or 30 frozen turkeys, somewhere in that vicinity, or monetary donations to help us purchase all the things that we need to do to make that many dinners. Before we started doing this for Elijah's Promise, they kind of just got cold pizza on Christmas Eve because, for Christmas dinner, because every place was closed. And then we had this team of cooks who wanted to do some good stuff in the world, so now they get a true Christmas dinner. So it's a wonderful thing that we can provide. So if you'd like to donate to that, you can just call the temple or bring in a frozen turkey. I believe we're ready for that. At the conclusion of our service, we're going to be going into Reitman Hall. I believe I heard from Dr. Joe earlier that he over-purchased food. Surprise. So if you haven't RSVP'd for tonight's dinner, I'm sure we'll figure out a way. Fred, is there enough food? There's enough food. So come and join together with your community for a wonderful dinner. So at the conclusion of the service, we're going to go in for Kiddush, Motzi, and then dinner, and just continue the joy that we're having tonight. On this Shabbat Eve, as we join together as one congregation to celebrate creation and the joy of life and living, we turn our thoughts to those in our community for whom life has become precarious because of health or hospitalization. O God of healing in our hearts, we name those who are facing illness and pain. We join our prayers together with the prayers of those who love them. Give them renewed comfort and courage. Strengthen in them the healing powers you place within us all, and guide the hands and hearts of those who are entrusted with their care. May the knowledge of your love and ours give added hope to them and their families, and may they find even greater strength because our prayers are linked to theirs. Mishaberach avotenu v'imotenu hu yivarech et hacholim, u'refuat nefesh u'refuat haguf, hashta abga alav isman kariv v'nomar amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless those in need of healing. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit as together we say, Amen.
Bless the
We continue on page 282 as we rise in body or spirit.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל העולם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Page 287. As together we read, "May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding, loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace." Yesh kochavim shoram magia artsa. There are stars up above so far away we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. Hearts that ache and are saddened, we name now those whom death has recently taken from us, those whose families are observing Shloshim. We remember Pearl Rosenberg Lipton, wife of Alan of blessed memory, mother of Susan and Norman, Joanne and Jeffrey, and Carol of blessed memory, and David of blessed memory, grandmother of Marissa and Jillian, Adam and Seema, Molly and Michelle, Julie and Sophia, and great-grandmother of Jacob, and Jaya and Kaya, and Teddy, Chloe, and Brooke, Madeline and Cohen. We also remember Alan David Knock, husband of Rose of blessed memory, father of Art, Susan and Kenneth, Barbara and David, and grandfather of Jeffrey and Mark and Lindsay, Adam and Melissa, and Amy and Jeffrey, and great-grandfather of Shana and Benjamin. And on this Shabbat, we also recall those dear ones who died at this season in years past and whose names we record with love in our service booklet this evening. Their names are forever bound to our hearts and are permanently inscribed throughout our building. And if you're joining us tonight online, say Kaddish for a loved one, please say their names aloud at home or type their names into the chat either on our YouTube, Facebook, or Temple streaming site so that we can lift up the names of your loved ones together with you. And if you are here in person to say Kaddish for a loved one, please say their names as I look around the sanctuary. Zikronam Livracha. May all their names and memories only be for a blessing. I invite all the mourners, if able, to rise for Kadisha Tom Mourners Kaddish on page 294. Yitkadal, Vikadash, Shmei Rabbah, V'alma Divrach Hirotei, V'amlik Maputei, V'chayechon, V'yomechon, V'chaye Dekol Beit Yisrael, V'agalav Izman Kariv, V'yimru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Leolam Olomei Almaya, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar, V'yitromam, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitaleh, V'yitalal, Shemei Dekudisha B'richu, Leila Minko Birchata V'shirata, Hush B'chata V'nechamata, V'amiran B'alma V'yimru Amen. Yehei Shalom Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chaim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael, V'yimru Amen. Osei Shalom B'mramav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael, V'yimru Amen. May the source of peace bestow peace to all who mourn, and may we be a source of comfort to all who are bereaved as we say, Amen.
We close our service this evening with the singing of Adon Olam on page 321. Please rise.